Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video. It's another paid request, this time from Ben. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And Ben wanted me to do a commentary on the 2001 Jean-Claude Van Damme film, The Order. So let's get right to it. I'm pausing at the beginning. 3, 2, 1. Pressing play. Alright. I remember the first time I saw this. I believe I got the DVD because I graduated from high school. And I went from Iowa to Texas. And kind of scrounged around for jobs, and eventually got a job at Target. And around that time, this came out. Because it says 2001, but technically it came out 2002. I just 2001, maybe a couple theaters, so technically 2001, but most people saw on DVD 2002. I mean, wait, there's a Jean-Claude Van Damme? I never heard of this one. And this is when we're getting into the direct-to-video era of Van Damme. I actually don't mind the score. The score makes it feel like more of an epic movie. It is a lower-budgeted film, direct-to-video film, but the score with the choir definitely makes it seem like it's a bigger scope of a movie. But I've always enjoyed this film. I think it's a fun movie. I mean, yeah, Sheldon Heston narrated. He has a bit role. This is probably one of the last films Sheldon Heston did. I think there's like, he did maybe 2 more roles after this and then he passed away. I do remember thinking it was weird that Van Damme plays one of these characters. There he is right there. Like, is he supposed to be the ancestor of the character we see much later on? I don't think so. I just like, well, we gotta have Van Damme in there somewhere. So, why not? He's under a helmet. Oh well. While they're wrecking shit up. Sorry, I'm listening to Sheldon Heston. May he rest in peace. Sheldon Heston, of course, from the original Planet of the Apes, the Omega Man, Soylent Green. Soylent Green is people! Yeah, I would say this is sort of Jean-Claude Van Damme's version of Indiana Jones. Directed by Sheldon Lettich, who, of course, had worked with Van Damme for quite a few years. I think Sheldon Lettich helped rework some of the script and stuff of Bloodsport. Not sure if the script or the editing in Bloodsport, one of those two. And then that's kind of where him and Van Damme became friends. He helped Van Damme re-edit Cyborg, because the original cut of Cyborg was very iffy, wasn't the best. So they re-edited to, in my opinion, a much better film, because I've seen the original version of Cyborg. It wasn't that good, in my opinion. Theatrical, much more my cup of tea. Until eventually, Sheldon Lettich directed Van Damme in Lionheart. Great movie. Came out in 1990, 1991. Then you had Double Impact. Another fun Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. So this is the 3rd film Sheldon Lettich had directed that starred Van Damme. Because I think afterward you had... Yeah, I feel maybe Van Damme maybe asked Sheldon, could he play this role because a bit more dramatic. Even though there's no dialogue, it's, hey, I get to wear a knight uniform. I get to wear old man makeup, and they'll be hiding my face anyway, so... But yeah, this is the third Sheldon Lettich Van Damme collaboration where he directed and Van Damme starred in. And I think there were two more movies. There was Legionnaire. I think Legionnaire. No. I think did Sheldon Lettich direct Legionnaire? I know he had a hand in it. Oh no, it was Peter McDonald who did Rambo 3. Sheldon Lettich was a writer and producer on it, or at least a writer on it. I don't know. I kept thinking he directed it. He didn't. Peter McDonald, who did Rambo 3, did it. So maybe it was just 4 movies, because I know that he did the one with the hardcore, which that was disappointing. I guess originally the hardcore was supposed to be Van Damme, Wesley Snipes, but someone, the studio said, well, we don't pay these two guys, but they kind of cancel each other out with the market, that the people who buy Van Damme movies would buy Wesley Snipes movies. I mean, that's not 100% true, but I mean, it's true for me because I like both, but I just figured, well, get 1 star, then get someone who's cheaper. Now, funny enough, this stuff with the zip line was stolen and put in a Steven Seagal movie, which is ironic because how much Steven Seagal hates Van Damme, and yet one of his movies stole a scene from a Van Damme movie, and not even a theatrical movie, from a fucking... It stole footage from another direct-to-video movie. I forget which Seagal film that was. I don't know. I can't remember if it was Out for a Kill or... It was one of those movies. I can't remember. But here he's still in the Fabergé egg. We know that he's a thief. Apparently when I saw this, it was like, okay, it's direct to video, so I know this is a bit, cheaper. It's not as big as Hard Target, Time Cop, Double Impact. But I don't think this is a 4.6 out of 10 IMDb. I'm sorry, I don't. It's not nearly a 4.6 out of 10 bad. That's horseshit in my opinion. It's a fun movie. It's under 90 minutes. It goes by as fast pace. You have Van Damme still having fun, showing his emotion, doing some martial arts, competent action sequences. I always thought that was a lame line. Was that a gunshot? No, I farted. I remember cringing at that. That's really stupid. Him grabbing the thing so it doesn't fall, that reminds me a little bit of like a Jackie Chan motif, where you're trying to protect the environment. But Van Damme is different. I'll break it anyway. Fuck you. Break over that guy's face. But yeah, this is an era where Van Damme, he was being successful in the early 90s, but sadly his drug use, his bipolar disorder, cocaine use, ego, that was a deadly combination, and it hurt him. And then his films started bombing. So it hurt him because he would have this behavior on set. So when things kind of went, people didn't like dealing with his behavior because of the drugs and the bipolar and the ego. See here, this is nice. You get some nice Van Damme kicks and movement there, showing his prowess. More so than what Seagal was doing in the direct-to-video era. You did see him doing tits, get to see him doing a bit of his great movements. It's not obvious stunt double. It's not blood sport, it's not kickboxer, but it's still fun. For a direct-to-video movie, that's kind of what you have to keep saying, is that this is not going to have a $30 million, $40 million budget. But I was saying When you're trouble on set, they'll deal with it if your movies are making money. But when you're trouble on set and your movies are not making money, then they're not going to cast anymore. And then the people, that bad word of mouth will spread, and they're like, we're not going to cast him anymore. Fuck him. He's too much trouble. Even if he's reformed, even if he's gotten better, even if he's changed, nah, no other chances. But yeah, whether it be films like Street Fighter or there has to be something going on with sudden death because that has a lot of doubles during the fight scenes. So as I do like sudden death, but that's very noticeable. And then like the Quest was a bomb, and that was Van Damme's was way over his head to try to direct a movie like that. But that bombed. He wanted more of a deal from Universal. He wanted $20 million a picture like Jim Carrey's did. And I'm like, your movies aren't making that money. Not nearly that much money. I mean, Time Cop worldwide still didn't make as much as any of Jim Carrey's movies at that time in the U.S. alone. Like Jim Carrey's movies in the U.S. were making more than your movies worldwide. So why would he be paying you $20 million? But his again, ego, drugs, and bipolar deadly combination trio. Then as the years go on, Double Team, flop, Knockoff, flop, Maximum Risk, which is a film I enjoy, it flopped. Then he cleans himself up. He hopes for a return, a comeback with Universal Soldier: The Return, which I enjoy that film. I think that's an entertaining movie. Massive bomb. Massive critical, massive commercial bomb. That was 1999. And while I think like Legionnaire had gone direct to video, now we're really getting to the direct to video market after 1999. Desert Heat, that pretty much went direct to video. I know it was limited release, but most people saw on direct to video. Not a fan of Desert Heat. And then this year you had the Replicant, which is a good one, and this one. I'm like, oh, okay, well, he kind of stayed for the most part in direct-to-video land, unless it's like an Expendables 2 or a voice in a Kung Fu Panda movie or something, but mostly it's direct-to-video work. And a lot of direct-to-video Van Damme films are fun. I think this is a fun one. I think Replicant is good. Wake of Death, Until Death, JCVD. I think he had a better track record than Steven Seagal when he went direct to video. Because Van Damme kept himself in shape. He tried to play different type of roles, like a clone and a serial killer and replicant. A guy who's crazed and an inmate and in hell. Playing a version of himself shed a lot of his insecurities in JCVD. Just made it much more interesting compared to Seagal playing an ex-CIA, ex-blah blah blah. Barely doing fights, barely fucking moving, except moving a sandwich to his fucking fat face. Sadly, nowadays, really none of the big action stars are doing great work. Even Stallone. Expendables 4, Bat Trace. Steve Seagal, of course, he quit. At least it seems like he quit because he's in Russia. Van Damme, his last couple movies I wasn't a fan of. Not a fan of The Last Mercenary. Not a fan of... Just not a fan of The Last Mercenary. Pound of Flesh. Kill 'Em All. Just very disappointing movies. Blackwater, submarine film with him and Dolph Lundgren. Just disappointing movies. One of the reasons I like this film is, number one, like you say, it goes by a fast pace. It's got some pretty good action sequences for a direct-to-video movie. And Van Damme, it's one of the last times where he's the Van Damme of old, where he has a little bit of a gleam in his eye. He has a little bit of humor. He's having fun. He's a lot of times, yes, he's very serious. But are the moments of a bit of levity or a bit of. Now, I think it's like after a bit, he thought he had to be stone face. It works well for In Hell and Wake of Death, but not every single movie. And this seemed like the last of the old school Van Damme, the way he fought, the way he acted. Assuming he did nice tits there. He kicked the guy through a fucking window. Give me my egg. Give me an egg. Got a tit there. Nice stunt there, going through all that wine bottles. There you go. Get your ass down. You tell maybe they didn't have the most time for coverage. You did kind of like a lot of up close shots, cuts here, and there. Damn bitch, fucking maced him. Ooh, you gotta knock the fuck out. See, Steven Seagal would never let that happen. He would never let, sorry, no, you can't mace me, you can't knock me out and put me in a jail. No, can't do that. And that's why Seagal's films, one of the many reasons why the Seagal direct-to-video films seem very forgettable and just awful. Because they feel like the same fucking film over and over again. I dare you to tell me the difference between Black Dawn and Today You Die and A Good Man and all that stuff. But that's the main thing with Van Damme is that Hollywood isn't going to care or see him. Oh, this guy was a coke kid back in the day, and he was a troublemaker back in the day. So they're not going to give him a chance because they remember that. But I think if you look at the internet, if you look at sort of the group that sees this type of video, it seems like we respect Van Damme more than, say, Steven Seagal. There's a fun YouTube channel called Space Ice that will praise Van Damme films and shit on Seagal movies. And it seems like that's almost a common thing if you compare the two. Did you say at that time, kind of like Arnold and Stallone were rivals, Van Damme and Seagal were rivals? I would say Van Damme won at the end of the day. So now we're going to Tel Aviv. You tell like this movie is trying to be as tightly paced as possible. Because there are times that seems like the scene's going to last 30 seconds longer. But then it's like, oh, we have a fade here, or we fade from one suit to another. And it's like if things were left breathing, there's probably like an hour and 45, or so. But he's like, no, let's snip this, so tighten it to under 90 minutes. So yeah, I remember getting this DVD and being like, okay, this is fun. This is entertaining. I mean, it's not Like I said, it's not Time Cop, it's not Hard Target, but it was still fun. It's the bullshit. It is Israel. Which is, I mean, now that all the issues going on over there, that's in the public eye and news. A while I didn't know this guy with a Superman shirt on. Holy shit. Charlton Heston, Professor of Archaeology. I'd be curious as how the hell they got Charlton Heston for this. Obviously, he did this for a paycheck. But hey, I mean, you would think maybe he already had enough money. He was probably retired. But I guess it's like, okay, maybe he gets to go. I don't know where they shot this. Well, I guess they probably did shoot in Israel, so maybe that's why. I get to have a vacation. It's just a shame that Sheldon he's not in this a whole lot. Because he had a big role in True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't. He never did one with Stallone. Like I said, just a shame. I'm sure they probably had him for like 3 days or something. Probably okay. Do this scene in the car. Maybe that bit with the airport. That's okay. Would you have Charlton Heston for like 3 days or so? Where you shoot all the scenes with him. Okay, we need to shoot him at the airport. We need to shoot him this. And then there's a bit where he's in another car chase and he dies in Van Damme's arms. Like I said, to be on location, like I said, this is probably why Heston took on the role, and you get some money out of it. I think within 5 minutes, I think within 5 minutes, Charlton Heston dies. Probably the car stuff they all did in like one day. Probably like, okay, you're driving, so you drive down this one road. Then here it's like, okay, drive like you're reacting like you're in the midst of a car chase. Wide shots we'll take care of on another day. I mean, a car chase might not be the French Connection or any of the sort, or To Live and Die in L.A., but not a bad car chase. Very tight spaces to be driving. Definitely some pretty tight spaces. At least it's edited quick enough to not be having too many stagnant shots or awful CGI. Because there'll be times where they're driving, you can clearly tell in other movies that their green screen or whatever projection screen is so obvious. Hell, there's another Van Damme film, Pound of Flesh, that did that, where there's a car chase or whatever, and or they're just driving. I don't even think it was a chase, and you just tell. Well, it's not a fruit stand. Tries you to tell that when Charlton Heston's doing this, they're not in the air or anything. It's like, okay, Heston, we'll crash this out, then I'll put up your arm up. Well, I think that was a fruit stand, so you got that in there. This was all those jugs. That would be a hell of a hit to flip a whole fucking car like that. God damn. I wonder if this scene here, like maybe is like, okay, we'll do this after Hess is gone. Nice use of slow-mo. Get some good tits on there. This is a nice wide slow motion shots. Show a bit of Van Damme what he can do. See, that's what I do appreciate about Van Damme is that, unlike, say, Steven Seagal, he's willing to let himself get beaten up, which helps during the fight scenes and other stuff. And you know, people can mod Van Damme's acting, but I think like he's showing his sorrow, he's showing his anger, he's showing his fear. Try to ask Steven Seagal to do that kind of acting. It's not me, it's not me. I always wondered, like, forever, he's always had that bump on his head. And it always makes you wonder, like, how that bump came to be. Like, there's like a bump here. He's had that for the longest of times. I don't know if it's just something that was just naturally came about, or was there some kind of accident that kind of left this little bump here there forever? Like, some shots you see a little bit more than others. Some shots you don't see it as much, but like above his right eye there's like a bump. Again, in a lot of his older movies they have that too. You know what, you spelling bullshit. See, up to your nose in it. Of course, guys talked to is Ben Cross, may he rest in peace, from the movie Chariots of Fire. He was also in a film called The Unholy. He did a pretty good he was in a pretty good Dolph Lundgren film called The Russian Specialist, also known as The Mechanic with a K. But in the US it was The Russian Specialist. That was one Dolph Lundgren directed. Good revenge movie. I would say Van Damme and Dolph during that time frame has some of the better direct-to-video action films. But like everybody else, they just got old. I mean, they get old, they get more tired, their body is more broken down. Whether it be hip surgeries, all this stuff. Van Damme can't do that hurricane kick like he could before. Or if he does, he's like wrecked for the whole day because their bodies break down. Their bodies break down, and since they can't do as much when they're doing films that are mainly action movies, they're limited. And you just see how much older they are, how much slower they are. And I'm not nagging on it, it's depressing. That's why I get it, they need to keep doing it because they want to pay the bills, or like maybe Dolph, hey, I got this cancer treatment, I need to pay for that. But For those hoping that Van Damme or Dolph or even Stallone, they don't come back with a banger like a Rambo First Blood Part 2, I Come in Peace, Time Cop. That level, you're gonna be waiting forever, or because it ain't happening. This said the last couple of Van Damme movies, The Last Mercenary, Pound of Flesh, Black Water, they're disappointing. Just like the last couple of Dolph Lundgren films were disappointing. And it just is how it is. I mean, what more can you do? Again, the bodies break down. It's just age. Just how age works. That's why you have to, I think, be a more unique products and properties that seem very different and very unique. Like if Jean-Claude Van Damme or Dolph Lundgren had done a film like Mandy, with Nicolas Cage. Like Nicolas Cage, I know he was doing a lot of films because his money issues and money problems, but in a way he stumbled upon being the more interesting star in that market. You know, Mom and Dad, Mandy, Willy's Wonderland, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, then of course Renfield. Can you imagine if Dolph Lundgren starred in Mandy? Can you imagine if Van Damme starred in Willy's Wonderland? It could deal with their limited, but then just the style or the plot or the uniqueness or the quirkiness would have worked out for the better. Although I love those two movies, I think Nick Cage did a great job with them. But that's what I mean is that people should be giving these guys projects of that unique nature. Especially since they can't do as much physically as they could in the past. Like Dolph Lundgren has a new film he directed coming out with him and Kelsey Grammer, and I don't know about that. A lot of times, like, okay, we have a younger, newer guy, which is not what people wanted to see in the first place. And yeah, I mean, the plot is what it is. It's about looking for his dad and scrolls, and then there's a cult sort of wanting the same thing. If you ever want to see Van Damme look like a Hasidic Jew, here you go. Beard and all. I guess there's an interview with Sheldon Lettich saying the mistake he made was that in the third ad he got darker, and it should have been more of the jovial, lighthearted entertainment like the first 2/3 of the film. But I don't think it got that much. Oh, he didn't say dark, I think he said serious. I think it worked out well. I think that was actually the right thing to do. I think a lot of people, they just look at direct-to-video film and they just go, okay, it doesn't look like it costs 100 million, where there's no way it could be that way, or it doesn't look like it costs 50 million, there's no way it would be that way, so that must mean it's bad. I mean, you gotta judge it compared to the other direct-to-video movies. Definitely a bit of a sillier sequence, but yeah, it does have a fun tone to it, this whole chase scene. Which, I don't know, the thing that makes me think of is the scene in Bloodsport when he's being chased by Forrest Whitaker and the other agent. And he's like going on the boats and the agents like fall off the boat into the water. That's kind of what it reminds me of a bit. And look at that, Van Damme smiling. Very rare. I mean, rare to see that nowadays. Nice right hook. I forget this actress's name. I do like her though. I think she does pretty capable job. But the chase, it definitely speeds up when he's got to get physical and start kicking people and find that one big guy. Which I'm trying to think that big guy is the same guy from The Quest? If it certainly looks like the guy. Everybody give him the stink guy. Yeah, this guy here. I swear he's the guy Van Damme fights at the end of The Quest. I could be wrong, but kind of looks like a more in shape Iron Sheik, may he rest in peace, or the video game Karnak. There you go. Get the fuck out of my way. I like this piece of music. Yeah, a little bit more of that adventure style music that fits. It just has a good spirit to it, this whole bit. Pretty well edited too. Like it doesn't it's not boring. Some nice wide shots, good stunt work. Because that stuff is not easy to do. That could be some dangerous shit. You fall wrong, you break your leg and stuff. There you go. Nice. Oh, that's a nice kick. Stretch up and slam all the way down. There you go. Ooh, nice headbutt. Nice kick there across the face. Get some of the great Van Damme movements there. Take your ass down. It doesn't look like obviously a stunt double every 30 seconds. Right there you see Van Damme doing the two kicks, which you see his face too. Ooh, nice right across the face. Nice crisp, smooth movements of his kicks. One of the reasons why I always liked him as an action star, because his kicks and punches seem really smooth and crisp for the screen. They work really well. Ooh, it's a big motherfucker. Oh shit. God damn. Of course, the reveal here. They were buddies. Doing those pieces of shit. Even like the direct-to-video market of action films, they don't even have too much of the spirit of this movie. I mean, for a film that gets a 4.6, it's so awful, so terrible. Is the plot as engaging of an adventure compared to Raiders of the Lost Ark? No. But it doesn't have I like Sheldon Lettich, but you don't have Steven Spielberg directing. You don't have the fucking budget. You don't have George Lucas getting that movie made. When getting this movie made like he died. You full of shit. You're so full of shit. I would get introduced to the cult here. Hence the order. And we have Brian Thompson. Which is ironic, this is the second Van Damme film he was in. The first one was also directed by Sheldon Lettich. He was in Lionheart. He was one of the bad guys, working with the female bad guy, and they get was Attila. Van Damme kicks him in the face at the end. And then he has a fight scene with Van Damme at the end of this. I say it's ironic that he's in two Van Damme films because he's not a fan of Van Damme. I've seen him in interviews and he doesn't really have much to say about Van Damme. Although to be fair, I mean, who's Brian Thompson? I mean, listen, dude, you did a good job in Cobra. You did a good job. You did fine enough job in here. Same as the alien bounty hunter on the X-Files. But at the same time, like, he was never a big star. You know, you were horrible in films like Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And I'm not saying there's no merit to what he's saying. I'm not saying there's no validity. I don't even remember the details as why he doesn't like Van Damme. I don't remember the details. But I mean, Van Damme is far from perfect. Neither is Stallone. Worked on Cobra. Far from perfect. But I doubt Brian Thompson is. I'm sure he's far from perfect too. Like everybody. Fuck would you want to eat that? Looks like cat food. That food does look like cat food. How is he jet lagged if he hasn't even been on the jet yet? He's jet lagged, but he hasn't even been. Don't you get jet lagged after you get off the jet? After you get off the plane? Dude, I was a bit confused with that shot. It was like a guy opened up a safety deposit box and there's nothing in it. Did I miss something? That was just a weird thing to just put in there, like in the midst of this. Like it's Van Damme talking to the girl, they're watching TV, then here's some guy looking at the safety deposit box is empty. Then we're back to this. It just seems like a weird edit. That to put in there in the midst of this. I believe who the fuck was that? What was the point of that? Maybe for this? So that's why they saw there's nothing in the safety deposit box, so they think he has something or bullshit with you. Guess even she knows there's something up. I say this actress. I thought she did a. I forget again. I should have looked up her name. I thought she did a pretty decent job, and I said she was smart to realize something's going on. Something's up. Something fucked up is going on. And the composer Pino Donaggio, I know he sounds familiar. Did he do the score for The Howling? I want to double check. I mean, I know it sounds weird, but even to have this whole shot here with all these planes amidst, direct-to-video films have gotten even cheaper compared to this era. And that's what's sad. Now let's get to era where everything's like CGI, everything's on a green screen, or no, we don't need to be on here. Can it just be on a much smaller scale? I'm like, it's already direct to video, man. Yeah, I know, but we need even smaller scale compared to that. Yeah, doesn't he crash the wing of the plane here? Yeah, just the thing. Nice flipping explosion, like a PM Entertainment movie. Yeah, in a way, this is kind of like a Van Damme PM Entertainment movie, now that I think about it. You got your car chases, you got your car flips, you got your fight scenes. And yes, I do know there's another film called The Order a few years after this with Heath Ledger, but there's nothing in common with that. Made the wrong decision, man. Yeah, a 13% Rotten Tomatoes, 4.6, 3.3 from Film Affinity. Give me a fucking break. I mean, if you folks think this movie's that bad, no wonder action films are in the shitter. People don't know what a good action film would hit them in the face. So Pino Donaggio, he worked on Carrie, the composer for this, The Howling, that's what I thought. Hercules, that's a good score. Hercules, the Lou Ferrigno one. Let's see, a lot of films I haven't heard of. Two, Two Evil Eyes, Raising Cain, Snake Eyes, Sita Chucky. Wow. Yeah, this is Sheldon Lettich. Tonally, we wanted to make a movie that was in the vein of fun action-adventure movies like Indiana Jones films. One big mistake that we made with the order was taking the tone in a more serious direction in the third act. Had we maintained the lightheartedness all the way to the end, I believe the film would have been more successful. For me, the highlight of that movie is the chase through the old city of Jerusalem, with Van Damme disguised as a Hasidic Jew, running from and fighting with the Israeli police. It was utterly wacky and outrageous, and to this day I'm still amazed I convinced Jean-Claude to do it. The movie did well in rentals, netting over $18 million. Well, yeah, these films had to have done well. That's why they kept making them. That's why Van Damme and Seagal had a good series of direct-to-video films made. I know there's a... At one point there was a Blu-ray made. Let me check. Was there a Blu-ray made of this with features? I'm curious. I mean, it was on Blu-ray, but I thought there was a different Blu-ray made. Just want to double check. Oh no, that's the Heath Ledger one. Sorry, the phone is a bit slower because there's no data on it, so... I don't know what that background is. No, it's probably people working outside. Sorry about that, folks. Hands in the air like you just don't care. Here's what? There goes his buddy. I thought I remember seeing that this film was released on Blu-ray. Like one, maybe not. Maybe I was thinking maybe 88 films. I don't know. If so, people can let me know in the comment section. I don't want to look for like 10 minutes and miss a bunch of stuff. I think that's another thing appealing about this movie is that every like 5-6 minutes something happens. There's an action scene, there's a fight scene, there's a chase scene. Like we just had the run through Israel with the disguise, fighting cops, fighting the big guy. Then we have a little bit of slow spot, but just get some plot in there. Then we have the car chase on the airport. Now we have this motorcycle chase along the beach. Nice helicopter shots there. Light, fun entertainment. It's at times silly, but the action scenes are pretty damn competent. And then you did your car chase, you did your motorcycle chase, you did your explosions, you did your nice little stunt there with the motorcycle. There you go. I think that guy who was Van Damme's friend who got killed, I think he was in Rambo 3. Yeah, I think he was the guy who was like Van Damme, Stallone's contact who kind of helped him bring into the fold in Rambo 3. I just didn't recognize him without the beard and stuff. But yeah, I thought that guy looked familiar. I'm like, yeah, he was in Rambo 3. When Stallone's like, it's a blue light. And that's the guy who asks, what does it do? It turns blue. So that was that guy who Van Damme's buddy who got killed. He played that guy in Rambo 3. Asked you about the blue light. Again, I knew he looked familiar. And yet the big guy. Yeah, the big guy. Yeah, I was right. The big guy he was fighting, that was Attila and Lionheart, and he was the Khan, the Mongolian fighter in the Quest. So I was right about that. Okay, I forgot he was Attila and Lionheart. So yeah, during that foot chase, that big bald guy, yeah, Lionheart, villain Attila, the main villain, and then again the big fighter in the Quest. So Abdel Queasy. So Van Damme's been wounded. As for what Van Damme's doing in the future, I don't know. I mean, I heard one rumor that he's doing the fucking. What was it? A sequel to Kill 'Em All? I'm like, why? Of all you films, why would you do a sequel to Kill 'Em All? A film that nobody remembers. And really seemed like nobody gave a shit about. Even me, who likes this film, didn't give a shit about Kill 'Em All. Plus, what was that one? Is like, I'm gonna do one last action film that's gonna be a ode to the films back to the day I did. One. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to do it. Maybe at this point, there's people that think, well, this guy's just not a box office commodity. Yeah, stop breaking my balls, guy. You stop breaking my balls. Thank you. Always breaking the balls. Or are you? You're in direct-to-video land. Which, I mean, yeah, imagine with these guys, like, they had a lot of. Whether you like or dislike the actor, when they're in movies, there's always going to be a bit of ego. You're the top of the card. People are listening to you. You got assistants. Do this, do that. Thank you. Bring me this. Bring me that. Thank you. Some don't say thank you. Some do. And then the time comes and you're the star dulls a bit. The shine is not as shiny as it used to be, and then you gotta, in a way, eat a piece of humble pie. Happens to a lot of people, man. Happens to a lot, almost everybody, for being honest. So, militant group, holy wars. Sadly, I mean, that was prominent today's age, honestly. fuck do you? I'm not ignorant. Maybe you're ignorant. Maybe you know what the fuck is going on, buddy. You need your ass handed to you. So I guess this is where Sheldon Lettich is talking about how we're getting a bit more of a serious tone. I'm like, you mean to The Order, which the movie is called? Religious cults, always a dangerous factor because, not to go on this thing, I've talked about this before, but religion is such a touchy topic for people. Which makes sense because if they believe in something, they believe in something very adamantly, they believe in something very prominently, where people truly hope they know what happens after we die, after we leave this mortal coil. And then you're sitting there going, well, okay, if you believe in this, well, that group believes in something different. And then that group over there believes in something different. You believe it's God, this person believes you gotta do this person believes in this. Each one of you have like different rules to get into heaven, or it's not called heaven, or this is what it looks like, this is what the... So, well, which is right, and who is right, and who is wrong? Or are you all somehow right, or are you all somehow wrong? When you question that, people get very defensive because life is short, too short, and you're not believing in what your hopeful existence will be for the rest of eternity. And if you go, well, wait a minute, if that and that is different, what if it doesn't exist at all? What if there's nothing? What if you die and it's like your computer that's out of battery? Or you unplug your TV. There's just nothing. Not even a dream. There's nothing. That's a very scary thought. That's a very horrifying thought. That's a very touchy thought that people don't want to think about. So they get defensive and they get angry and they get frustrated and they get violent, and then fights and battles and, no, I gotta believe this is true, and I believe this is true, and I'll fight for it. And there are people that believe in stuff and will lead into sometimes nicer paths. Treat your fellow person well. Be a good person, be a decent person. Other times, much more violent or much more awkward, crooked ways. I just like every organization, every group, there's a section that has their crooked ways. That's a lot of fucking explosives. Sorry, I'm listening to the dialogue to hear Ben Cross's explanation coming up. So broad time, yeah, right here. Okay, so Ben Cross, I don't want to say Ben Kingsley. Ben Cross wants the treasure. It was the bib bomb forward. That's why I'm being silent. Islamic leaders. Why would you want to start World War III? How is that a benefit? Holy War triggered by a single event. There's the event. Like, obviously, Brian Thompson, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That's why he believes in this shit. But Ben Cross, okay, you want treasure. What the fuck is that treasure gonna do if there's a fucking world war? What's that treasure gonna buy you? Everybody is fighting each other, killing each other, so many things destroyed. Again, what are you gonna do with that fucking treasure? Like, Brian Thompson's a nutcase. He's crazy. But Ben Cross, again, what are you gonna do with that treasure? Buy the rats off? Buy the cockroaches off? Leave me alone. Here's another fucking gold, or here's a little. Whatever. But I don't mind this direction in the third act because I like this area of the inner crypts and dark caves and just a nice different look and feel to it compared to all the sunny locations and environments that we saw earlier. It has a bit of a gloomier look to it, which I don't mind. And then we see that the things are much more serious, things are much more in dire circumstances for our hero to overcome. Doesn't seem like much of a trap. People have to. Does it here? There you go. Kind of a weird trap to. It doesn't work the first time, doesn't work the second time, but if a third person goes over it, then it'll collapse. I will say those beams look a lot more tougher than I thought to let this fucking these vehicles over it. Like I said, maybe with a bit more time and budget, would have been nice to see a few more traps. Even this treasure room doesn't seem too glorious of a room compared to like Firewalker. Yeah, at the end of Firewalker, when Chuck Norris and Louis Gossett Jr. they see just how amazingly beautiful the room looks, where it's literally like glowing, and you see like, oh my god, like how magnificent. Here, there are times I can barely see the treasure. I see little bits here and there, a little bit scattered. But I guess in reality, it's not like they would be glowing. Like they have some glow in the dark fucking stuff put up on them. To be fair, so maybe this is what a treasure room would realistically look like. To be fair, but for cinematic purposes, is why people go the little extra mile. They give that more sense of wonder and awe. And sometimes you have those kind of shots like that seem a bit awkward. They kind of look like the, I don't know, Brady Bunch type of slides where you go phoop up, phoop down. Like, I almost wonder if like a fade made it work better. Or like if a camera goes up through the hole and then kind of dissolve or kind of blend into the camera rising up and seeing where we're at. Probably if they had a bit more time, they would do stuff like that. Again, what is your Swiss bank account going to do when World War III happens? Are you don't pay off the fucking rats to leave you alone? Nice tits there. There you go. Oh, there you go. Oh well. Tough titty guy. You picked the wrong side. So maybe this won't, with the cave system, is not the most fantastical landscape for your action adventure finale. Definitely helps with the budget because you don't have a whole lot of, set dressing. So it is not as explosive a finale as it could have been, but yeah, I think Sheldon Lettich did what he could with the budget that he had. Hey, the clock is ticking. A lot of movies with those big giant time. Where the fuck do you even buy those kind of timers? Were they in like Radio Shack back in the day? I need a big timer this big. Do you just dismantle your alarm clock and put it on there? I got an alarm clock. Take this shit off and put it on here and bring this timer thing on there. What did you fall down, dude? God damn. So the guy forgot how to fall down. He's like, feel like Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat. This is where you fall down now. I don't know what was that guy's issue. He's like, he didn't know how to fucking fall down to die. He's like, that's a nice shot, the silhouette of him knocking out the guy. Trading tits back and forth. Missing. Both seem evenly matched. Fuck your gun. You don't need that chitty shit gun. You wanna fight me? Come on, fight me then. But yeah, this is Van Damme still in his physical. He's cleaned up from drugs. Got in the gym. Universal Soldier Return in this one. Nice physical shape to be able to do this kind of stuff. And this is what, when people watch these movies, this is what they want to see, these type of fights. Nice 360 kick, and the guy gets impaled. A nice 360 kick. I love his 360 kicks. The hurricane kicks. Love that stuff. Although I guess technically, should they become more like the tornado kicks since you're going in a circle? But I've heard them called hurricane kicks, or I just say the 360 kicks. Double tap, shoot him again. You gotta do the double tap. You always gotta do the double tap. Yeah, go get the Holy Grail to put on his wound. The guy who plays Van Damme's dad, he's there. I mean, I think he's one of the weaker actors in the movie. Rudy! Rudy! I don't know, just... There you go. Take your ass down, you stay there. Get the fuck out of it. There you go. Bitch. The prophecy is me kicking your ass. That's the prophecy. But I remember like Brian Thompson, he did this like Expendables parody called The Extendables, and it was so fucking awful, so embarrassing. So I'm like, Brian Thompson, you can talk as much shit as you want, but when you star in the movie, it's not like it's a grandiose film, man. So I'm just watching the fight scene. You know, nice tit there. Try and get to that damn sword fight. I mean, try to get to that sword or something. There you go. I mean, the sword fight might not be Highlander, but not too bad. Jump for joy. That's what you get. He shouldn't have jumped for joy. There you go. The idea of the fuck you kick. Eat this. There you go. Of course, I was using the trailer, that kick where he's like, yeah. least there's a different take on it. It's not the typical, okay, here's the wire, click on the right wire, and with 0.3 seconds left. It's like, well, I don't know how to disarm this shit, so find that hole and drop the shit. Bury it deep. I'm looking at the timer. Does the timer say 0? Oh no, I think it's like it was 1 minute gone. It was like 40 seconds left. Is it Ben Cross? Yep. There you go. Of course, the guy did Van Damme getting his shirt ripped off. The ladies love the body. Doesn't show his ass though, so the booty is not in focus. But it's like, come on, we gotta have Van Damme's body. We gotta show how buff he is, and he's still pretty buff in this time. And it shows how good of a shape he is. At least, unlike Seagal, Van Damme kept in shape. It's like a wrestler. It's like wrestling. There are wrestlers that work that don't have the body. This is a bad looking explosion, I gotta say. That's an awful looking explosion. As much as I like the film, I can't. That is an awful looking explosion. It's direct to video. It's not. But I mean, there are direct to video films with better. It's just no excuses. That's an awful looking explosion. I gotta say, awful looking. There's a one little real fireball, but like maybe the wide shots I could maybe forgive because they're not going. Israel's not gonna let them blow up one of their fucking holy shrine buildings. But the in the cave, the fireball coming towards camera, you can tell that looked very fake and awkward. So you're like, eh. I would prefer like a miniature, like make a miniature cave and have make a miniature, have a explosion fireball. You film it. Maybe you film it here, and then maybe use a different angle. It's the same one, but change the angle so it seems like it's going around, but you're just using the same. I have a miniature of the cave, fireball, but you have two cameras. I think there's other ways you could have done it, but I would say that's probably one of the weaker parts of the movie is that explosion. See, okay, Van Damme, you want to do a sequel to Kill 'Em All? Sure, done a sequel to this. Van Damme and the Indiana Jones adventure movie yet again. I think that worked out better. I wouldn't have minded it. A sequel to The Order. Another adventure movie. And then we have bloopers, kind of like the Jackie Chan film. We got bloopers here. Well, a little bit kind of a highlight of what the fight action were. So not really bloopers, to be fair. There's a little bit where they kind of break character. I guess that's what I'm getting at. And then they just show a montage of what you've seen. Which is a nice reminder, just, this did have a lot of nice fights action in it. And there's a nice tits there, showing a bit of Van Damme's prowess. Here's a little bit of breaking character. There you go. I always thought that was a weird bit to have Van Damme do that kick and then they add in this sound effect like he fell, like he broke something. I guess just to give, it is a weird choice. I guess just to give a bit of a, hey, it's just meant for fun, just meant for entertainment. See, I actually think this piece of the score is rather good. With the choir music. It's such a pretty solid piece of score here. So yeah, this is, I mean, it's short, it's fast paced. There's action scene, a fight scene, car chase, maybe a bit of sword fight, bits of variety of pieces, explosion. I mean, it gives you your money's worth. Compare that to so many action films nowadays, direct to video market, streaming now, where it's shaky cam or very obvious CGI green screen, where I did it. You think you have such a great story, but you don't. You have a generic story that's been told 100 times, that people have seen 100 times, and you're able to overlook it if you bring either a sense of pizzazz, style, or give people the money's worth. People are not going to pay like they. People know what they want. Give me some action, give me some fun, give me some levities, give me some entertainment, and they can forgive certain things. I think this did that, and it's my probably my favorite direct-to-video Van Damme movie because of that. It was one of the last times we saw Van Damme smiling, having fun, showing all the range of emotions. He after this he's more stone faced. Like I said, works well with Wake of Death, works well with End Hell, works well for those roles, but then he like does it for like all the movies. And then his body gets older and broken down, and then like I'm gonna go through Van Damme's filmography real quick as we end here. Just quick. As I'm listening to the music here too, since I like it. I'm gonna go through them quickly, whether I say I like or don't like. He was a soldier in Missing in Action, good movie, but I mean, I doubt you can even find him in the movie. Monaco Forever, that's a short film. He plays gay karate man. That's literally what it is. Lame, useless short film. Breaking, he's dancing. He's a spectator. Never been a fan of No Retreat, No Surrender, but Van Damme's good as the Russian villain. Love Bloodsport. Not a fan of Black Eagle. I enjoy Cyborg. I enjoy Tipbuster, Lionheart, Death Warrant, Double Impact, Universal Soldier. Enjoy all those. Nowhere to Run, I liked it. Last Edge Hero, he has a cameo, I liked it. Hard Target, my favorite. Time Cop, my top 5 favorite Van Damme films. Street Fighter, goofy, silly. I could probably watch it more now compared to back then. But I do have issues with it not being more a tournament like the game is more like a very goofy G.I. Joe. Although I'd rather watch that than the G.I. Joe movies. So there you go. So that's why I probably watch Street Fighter nowadays. I don't hate it as much as I used to be honest. Sudden Death I like. I know the movie's over, but Sudden Death I like, but not so much the doubles, the fight doubles. But I like a lot of the other stuff. The Quest I'm not a fan of. I just rather rewatch Bloodsport. I enjoyed Maximum Risk, Double Team, and Knockoff. I can have fun with how quirky and weird those movies are. Legionnaire I'm not a fan of. Universal Soldier: The Return I am a fan of. Desert Heat I hated that movie. It's one of my least favorite Van Damme films. I know a lot of people liked it. I don't know why. There's barely any action. I'm not a fan of the story. Derailed is one of his worst. Replicant is a good one. The Order is a good one. In Hell is a good one. Wake of Death is a good one. Second Command is okay. Hardcore, disappointing. Until Death, I thought was a good one. Shepherd, Border Patrol, Isaac Florentine. who worked with Scott Adkins a lot, and Scott Adkins is in that film as a villain. That's a good one. JCVD, great performance. Universal Soldier Regeneration, Day of Reckoning, don't like the direction of the story. I thought it was really lame what they did with Luke Devereaux with that character. And Dragon Eyes, not a fan of. He plays a mentor to Kun Lee. Six Bullets. Sadly, Six Bullets is the last film he was in I liked, and that was 2012. So, 12 years now. 12 years. It's been 12 years since he was in the film Well, that's not true. Because UFO is one of the worst films he's been in. Welcome to the Jungle in 2013. He's good in it. I'm not a fan of the film, but he's good in it. He's not the star of the film. So, I give credit to him for turning that role and making some entertainment out of the dreck. Enemies Closer I liked. He played a villain in that. That was 2013. I did like that movie. So, Enemies Closer, to be fair, that's the last film he did I liked. He played the villain. I don't love Enemies Closer, but I liked it. But after that, Swelter, Pound of Flesh, Kickboxer Vengeance, Kickboxer Retaliation, Kill 'Em All, Blackwater, all lame, in my opinion. The Bouncer, disappointing. We Die Young, forgettable. Last Mercenary, that was, I think, for Netflix. Really disappointing. Really disappointing. And did tear for the humor. Van Damme, you saw that there was some doubles being used for the fight scenes because he's much older. I guess some film called Darkness of Man, which says 2023, but I saw no release of it. He still never released that film he directed. Frenchie, also known as Full Love, also known as The Eagle Path. He still never released that one. Jean-Claude Van Johnson. To be fair, I did like that one, Jean-Claude Van Johnson. But I was talking about movies. But Jean-Claude Van Johnson was good. Sadly, only lasted one season. I wish it had lasted more. Because that was a fun show. Jean-Claude Van Johnson was a fun show. I wish we could have seen more of that. But it is what it is. I would love to have seen a second season of that. But shit happens. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Ben, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.